Kelsey, one of your teammates said yesterday that you started saying in the huddles, we're all we got, we all we need.
Yeah, I said we all we got, we all we need, yeah.
How did that kind of come about? And do you remember when you started sharing that message?
Probably, I might have been after somebody got hurt. I won't even lie to you. It was early on. I think it was when CC got hurt, and I felt like it was deflating. It was hard for people to kind of see us and see our energy for what we brought to the table as a team. Hats off to CC for being a great teammate and having to go through so much with injury. But like the all we got, all we need was it's a staple to who we trying to be as a team and who we want our culture to be. We can't help the ones that's not here, which is unfortunate, but we can help who is and be present about that and not disrespect the game because, I would like to think that CC, Ari, Sid would want to play and be in our shoes. And so I think the all we got, all we need is just, it's kind of like a respect thing, but to put it in the air that we all we got and we all we need.
That right there. That's the moment the mask slips. That's the confession. For weeks, we've been told it's just locker room talk, just a motivational phrase. But the numbers don't lie, and the timeline is even more damning. This was never about team spirit. This was a calculated message, delivered at the most vulnerable moment for the team's biggest star. Kelsey Mitchell didn't just say the quiet part out loud. She admitted to starting the chant the second Caitlin Clark went down. The question is no longer if she betrayed her teammate, but how deep the resentment truly goes. And I'm going to show you the numbers, the evidence, and the pattern of behavior that proves this is one of the most shocking acts of internal sabotage we've ever seen in this league. This story is bigger than one quote, and the truth is, something the league does not want you to see. Let's be brutally honest about the reality of the Indiana Fever before Caitlin Clark. The numbers are not pretty, but they are the truth. This was a franchise lost in the wilderness, struggling for relevance, playing in front of sparse crowds. They were, for all intents and purposes, a forgotten team. Kelsey Mitchell was there for all of it. She deserves respect for her loyalty during those losing seasons. But loyalty doesn't give you a pass for jealousy when the savior finally arrives. And let's make no mistake, that's what Caitlin Clark was. To understand the magnitude of Mitchell's betrayal, you first have to understand the miracle Clark delivered. It's all in the data. Ticket sales, television ratings, merchandise, every single metric of success exploded. Games were selling out. Not just at home, but on the road. The Fever weren't just a WNBA team anymore. They were a global phenomenon. And then, a content creator named John the Liquidator came out and said what everyone was thinking but was too afraid to say. He's not wrong. He's just saying the truth with his whole chest. The team I was trash before Clark arrived. That's not an opinion. It's a statistical fact based on their win-loss record for years. The Fever's rise from obscurity to the hottest ticket in sports is 100% attributable to the Caitlin Clark effect. Her gravity pulled the entire franchise into a new orbit. So when you've been gifted this golden ticket, this once-in-a-generation talent that has single-handedly changed the fortunes of everyone on the roster, you would expect gratitude. You would expect mentorship from the veteran leader. You would expect a unified front. What you wouldn't expect is the veteran player's family publicly co-signing posts that the team would be better off without their superstar. But that's exactly what happened. This wasn't just a one-off comment from Kelsey. Her own sister, Chelsea Mitchell, was found on Facebook publicly agreeing with a post that claimed the Indiana Fever would be a better team without Caitlin Clark. Let that sink in. This isn't just a random fan. This is Mitchell's inner circle, her family, amplifying a narrative that their franchise player is the problem. This proves the sentiment, the resentment, is a shared belief. It's a talking point in the Mitchell household. It's not a slip of the tongue in a huddle. It's a culture of disrespect brewing behind the scenes. And once you know that, every other action, every other word from Kelsey Mitchell has to be viewed through that lens. The betrayal isn't just personal, it feels coordinated. You see it in her interviews, in the way she carefully deflects and minimizes Clark's impact. After the team finally secured a 500 record, a milestone they hadn't seen in years and only reached because of the attention and talent Clark brought. Mitchell was asked what it took to get there. Her answer is revealing.
Kelsey, through all the ups and downs of this season, and I know you have bigger goals in mind, but the team ensured a 500 finish, back-to-back years doing that. I mean,
it's a big deal.
Right, given everything that this team has gone through this year, and the fact that you guys, I think, are one win away from securing a playoff spot, like, what did it take to kind of stay the course, and what does that mean to just at least get that one thing kind of checked off?
It's definitely a stepping stone in the right direction. I think considering where this organization has been and some of the great players that's come through it, we got to look at this, like I said, for a winning moment tonight. It doesn't happen a lot, and where we've been at, you guys know what it's been like the last couple of years here, and so to see the tables kind of turn, it works in our favor, and I think that we deserve it from a standpoint of we put the work in to be here, and so I like to think that you guys gonna keep sticking it with us too, because you guys deserve it. In order to capture good content and all that, you got to win, and so I think it goes together as far as both sides, but I think it's definitely important for us to kind of bask in it for a little bit, because I remember where
We deserve it from a standpoint of we put the work in to be here. Notice what's missing. Any acknowledgement of the seismic shift that occurred when the #1 draft pick walked through the door? Any mention of the player whose gravity creates open shots for everyone else? It's all we. On the surface, it sounds like team-first language. But in the context of her family's public statements and her "we all we need" mantra, it sounds like a deliberate erasure. It's an attempt to reclaim a narrative, to pretend that this success was always coming, that Clark was just another piece and not the entire engine. The numbers scream that Clark is the engine, but Mitchell's words are trying to muffle that truth. It's a betrayal not just of her teammate, but of reality itself. And the fans, the ones who watch every game and see the truth with their own eyes, are not buying it. That's the key right there. Members of her family even take shots at Caitlin Clark now. This isn't a new development, it's a pattern. A pattern of disrespect, a pattern of minimizing, a pattern of jealousy that has been bubbling just beneath the surface. For a while, you could dismiss it. You could say it's just family being protective, or it's just a veteran trying to keep the team grounded. But then came the injury, then came the huddle, and then came the confession, the one piece of evidence that ties it all together and exposes the ugly truth of what was really going on in that locker room. This is the moment everything becomes clear. This is the smoking gun. Let's listen to it again, because every word matters. An interviewer asks her, point blank, when the now infamous mantra started.
Kelsey, one of your teammates said yesterday that you started saying in the huddles, we're all we got, we all we need.
Yeah, I said we all we got, we all we need, yeah.
How did that kind of come about, and do you remember when you started sharing that message?
Probably, I might have been after somebody got hurt. I won't even lie to you. It was early on. I think it was when CC got hurt, and I felt like it was deflating. It was hard for people to kind of see us and see our energy for what we brought to the table as a team. Hats off to CC for being a great teammate and having to go through so much with injury. But like the all we got, all we need was it's a staple to who we trying to be as a team and who we want our culture to be. We can't help the ones that's not here, which is unfortunate, but we can help who is and be present about that and not disrespect the game, because I would like to think that CC, Ari, Sid would want to play and be in our shoes. And so I think the all we got, all we need is just it's kind of like a respect thing, but to put it in the air that we all we got and we all we need.
I think it was when CC got hurt, and I felt like it was deflating. There it is. The admission. She didn't say it started in training camp to build culture. She didn't say it started after a tough loss to bring the team together. She tied it, with her own words, to the exact moment Caitlin Clark was injured. Think about the psychology of that. The franchise player is down. The person responsible for the sold-out arenas and national TV games is hurt. The logical, supportive, leadership response is, next woman up, or let's win this for her. But Kelsey Mitchell's response was, we all we got, we all we need. It's a statement of exclusion. It's drawing a line in the sand. It's saying, the person you all came to see is gone, but we're the ones who are still here, and we're enough. It frames Clark not as a part of the we, but as an outsider whose absence allows the real team to finally show what they can do. It's the ultimate passive-aggressive betrayal. And what do the numbers say happened next? In the games Clark missed, Mitchell's offensive role exploded. She became the primary weapon, averaging 20.7 points in those games and even dropping a career-high 38 points. She got the spotlight she so clearly felt she deserved. That mantra wasn't about rallying the team. It was about seizing an opportunity. It was her declaration that it was now her team again. The numbers prove she stepped up as a scorer, but her own words prove she did it while simultaneously pushing the team's biggest star out of the circle of trust. That isn't leadership. That's an opportunistic power play disguised as motivation. You have a right to be angry. You have a right to feel like the team's chemistry is a lie, because the evidence, from her family's social media, to her own coded interview answers, to this shocking confession, all points to the same heartbreaking conclusion. The longest tenured player on the team doesn't respect the person who saved the franchise. The betrayal is now undeniable, proven by her own confession. But here's where the story gets even more complicated, and frankly, more dangerous for the future of the Indiana Fever. The numbers create a paradox, a crisis that the front office has to be sweating over right now. Because while Mitchell was pushing Clark away emotionally, her on-court performance without her was incredible. The team didn't collapse. In fact, with Mitchell carrying the offensive load, they went on to secure their first playoff berth in nearly a decade, finishing with a 24-20 record. So now the organization is trapped. They have a veteran player who has been statistically phenomenal, but has also been exposed for harboring resentment towards their generational superstar. They have a team that is winning games, but whose internal culture seems to be built on a toxic foundation of jealousy. How can a team truly contend for a championship like that? What happens when Caitlin Clark returns to the lineup? Does this resentment just magically disappear, or does it fester, creating a locker room divide that will eventually tear this promising young team apart? The front office is looking at the attendance numbers, the TV ratings, and the merchandise sales, and they know all of that is tied to Caitlin Clark. But they are also looking at the box scores from the end of the season, and they see Kelsey Mitchell's MVP caliber numbers that got them into the playoffs. They have to make a choice. And what I'm hearing from sources close to the team suggests that the data is forcing them to consider a move that nobody sees coming. The numbers don't lie, and they are painting a picture of an impossible situation that has to be resolved one way or another.